We are live. Hi, thank you for tuning in. I am here, my name is Chelsea, and I'm here with Rebecka Deike, who is the associate winemaker who makes all of the red wines at Ferrari-Carano. And as you can see, we are inside Ferrari-Carano Winery right now in the wine library with some really appetizing magnums and giant bottles behind us. And then 3 delicious appetizing bottles right here that you also have at home. Thank you. We have 12 bloggers tuning in who will be tasting, who have been probably dying to open these bottles for at least a week now since they arrived in the mail. And we are going to taste in the order that you see the wines on the table. So we'll start with the Anderson Valley Pinot Noir, and then we'll be tasting the Siena, and then we'll move on to the Zinfandel, sort of tasting them in order of weight. Sounds good. So hi, Rebecka.
Hello. How are you doing, Chelsea?
Good. How are you doing?
Well.
I heard that you got up at 5 in the morning.
Well, actually about 3:45 because I have to be at work at 5 o'clock. So we work early. We do after the winery work a 4-10 schedule, 4 10-hour days. So it's Monday through Thursday, and so it makes for a long day. But it's really nice for cutting down on everyone's commute and reducing those emissions and everything, so it's a good schedule to have.
Yeah. So what were you doing today in the winery?
Today, well, it was actually one of my favorite days. We got to taste through our barrel experiment. So 45 different combinations of barrels, all in cab, all like in the same vintage of cab as the 2014 vintage, and so it's very exciting to taste all the different combinations of oak, all our spices that we have to use this upcoming vintage. So it's American oak, French oak, Hungarian oak, all from different forests, different coopers with different toasting levels. So it's really fun tasting to do. It's a lot, 45 wines of cab from hillside, lots of tannins, but we got through it. It was fun.
It sounds like I'm pretty amazed that you can be here 12 hours after starting your workday and 45 tastes in, and have so much energy to be doing this right now. And I hear also that one of the reasons you're probably so energetic is that you're training for a triathlon.
I am, actually. This week is the week where we rest up and get our muscles. We're already ready to do it. It's actually the executive winemaker, Sarah Quiter, and I both have talked about doing this, and this year we decided to do it. It's a half Ironman distance, so it's a really big challenge for us, and we're doing it on Saturday, so I'm ready.
That's amazing. I don't know how you're gonna, I can't begin to imagine being prepared for a triathlon after a work.
We're just hoping that the weather doesn't get too hot, because we have to run a half marathon after we swim for 1.2 miles, we bike for 56 miles, and then we have to run a half marathon. So we're hoping it doesn't get really too far below 80 on Saturday.
Well, I will be tasting wine on Saturday. And I'm just really excited to be here right now tasting these wines with you, all of which you made.
Yes, all these, they're all the red wines. We have a separate facility for making all of our red wines. It's a 10-year-old facility in Anderson Valley. It's gorgeous. It's not open to the public, unfortunately, but we're up at 1,000 feet of elevation. There's a beautiful view. It's in the middle of a whole bunch of vineyards. So on my way to work, I get to drive past our cab and our Syrah and some Sangiovese, and I sort of wish everyone could come see it, because it's gorgeous. We have 46,000 square feet of caves that we store all the wine in up there, so it's a pretty special place.
It's hard when we do these that we just have to encapsulate the beauty of wine country in the bottle, which I think they do a great job of, but there is really nothing like being in wine country, either at the the beautiful villa-like setting that we're in now, or the unmanicured gardens of just the actual rustic vines that you get when you're in the mountain facility.
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous place. I mean, every day you're driving home, really, I love the area. And I mean, especially with all the vineyard, you see all the seasons. Just this time of year, we're in a drought, but everything will look so green because of all those grapevines. It's beautiful. And then we get to fall, and the leaves start changing colors, and it's beautiful then too.
So we have deprived everyone at home of these wines for a week, just made them look at them and think about drinking them. So we should get started drinking them. Everyone at home, if you have the Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley, please begin by pouring that, and I will pour a little more into your glass to taste. So Ferrari-Carano has vineyards in several different AVAs of Northern California, and Anderson Valley is where this Pinot Noir comes from.
Yes, that's right. Anderson Valley is doing it's a great location for Pinot Noir. There's some excellent Pinot Noirs coming out of Anderson Valley. It has, the climate there, I think, with it's closer to the coast than here, so it does get warm during the day, but then it cools down at night when the fog comes in from the ocean, and retains the acidity in Pinot Noir, which is very important to have a bright, fruity Pinot Noir. So
cheers.
Cheers.
I'm gonna, as we start to smell and talk about this wine, I want to ask, Black Dress Diva wants to know, which wine are you going to be drinking after the triathlon?
Well, we were actually planning to celebrate with some bubbles. So yes, it's got to be some. I have actually picked out some rosé bubbles. They had to have pink labels on them. This is kind of funny, but so I wanted to have pink labels on it because this triathlon that we're doing, it's called Barb's Race, and it's a fundraiser for breast cancer, and the whole theme of it is pink. So we need to be drinking something pink to celebrate.
Perfect. So that brings me to, we drink, at least I drink a lot of bubbles during summer. I drink a lot of white wine, sometimes beer. I know you were mentioning enjoying gin and tonics.
Yeah.
And red wine, I think, totally has a place in summer too, but it can be a little bit trickier. So the theme of our tasting today is Ferrari-Carano Summer Reds. And so these are choices that you made about wines that are delicious in summer, even though they're not chilled the way a white wine or bubbles are chilled.
That's right, that's correct.
So that's what we'll be talking about as we're tasting. And what was your idea in presenting these wines for summer? Why these wines?
Well, I don't think it's that typical having red wine during summer because, basically for food pairing, all of these wines are, I have them all in different meals. So you're going to be choosing a red wine. You're still going to have red wine with your meal when you're having your dinner. So the thing with summer, I live in Cloverdale. It gets hot, so it gets in the 90s in the evening, and I don't want to be inside cooking. I want to be outside on the grill cooking. So with the Pinot Noir, for instance, and this is also a great time of year for salmon. So out on the grill, I'll cook some salmon, and I love Pinot Noir with salmon. So that's it, and also some grilled lamb chops. It's a lovely pairing with this Pinot Noir.
That is, those both sound delicious, but salmon and Pinot Noir is absolutely one of my favorite pairings.
It's a tasty thing to have.
Divine Wine Time says the Anderson Valley Pinot Noir brings up white pepper, cherries, and wonderful acidity.
Yes, that I agree. That's some of my comments on this one. I like the it screams Pinot Noir because of the cherry. It's a floral rose character to it, and then also I think the French oak that is used is like integrated really well. So just adding a little bit of a toasty note to it. It's not overpowering the fruit, and then the acidity is still coming through, and you still get the cherry flavor on the mouth, and just a little lingering toastiness on the finish. This Pinot Noir is a blend of 3 different ranches. 2 of those ranches are up higher elevation. One of them's at 1,100 feet of elevation. The other one's at 1,300 feet on Mendocino Ridge. So we do get some nice structure and weight to this wine because of those higher elevation grades.
We actually had that question, how much of the fruit is from the Sky High Ranch in this, do you know?
30%.
Okay.
Do you know?
I guess, of course you know, you put it in there. Well, I didn't know until this moment, and it's, if you've had the Sky High Ranch, you do get, you can taste sort of side by side which characteristics are coming from that site, I think. It's a fun experience to be able to taste a wine that has a blend of vineyards and then taste just that vineyard.
Yeah, and try to pick out the different character.
Right. So a lot of people want to know more about you and how you chose winemaking as a career choice. That question specifically right now from Green Picks. Cindy.
I didn't originally choose to go into winemaking. My degree is in cellular molecular biology, and I was originally going to be an optometrist. I thought that would be fun, and I think the whole educational experience of it would be fun, but then you're kind of stuck in an office the whole time, and got a little bit interested into it. So I didn't really, honestly, didn't know anything about wine. I didn't grow up in a wine drinking family or in a wine drinking region at all. But when I just started looking around for jobs, I saw that there was like lab jobs at wineries, and I thought that would be so interesting. And there's a whole fermentation science which I studied in school, and so I just really started applying for some harvest jobs. We hire a lot of harvest temps, interns during harvest to get us through the busy harvest time. So I was one of those interns one year, and I just fell in love with the whole winemaking process. I was having so much fun, I couldn't believe I was getting paid. I was out there in the back of a stem truck with a rake, raking stems, and I just fell in love with it. I loved it.
And you and Sarah Quiter both wound up at Ferrari-Carano together, having been at Jordan Winery together.
Yes. She hired me to work at the lab at Jordan Winery, and that was just an intern job, but it turned into a full-time job. I worked there for 4 years and learned a lot there. Got a great foundation, and just wanted to spread out and learn more. We were working with at Jordan Winery, Chardonnay, Cab Merlot, and so I wanted to work with some more varieties, and Ferrari-Carano is a perfect place to do that because we have, I think it's around 16 different varieties planted on all of our ranches, and so that's enough to keep me from being bored. It's really fun, and especially when it gets to blending time, which whenever we moved on to Siena, it's a blend of 4 different varieties. So that's a very fun part of my job.
And when you say all of the ranches, that's 16 varieties on, more than 20, 24
ranches, vineyards, in, is it 4 different appellations?
I think it's 5 or 6.
5 or 6, it's in 5, they're all over the place. We have Dry Creek, Russian River Valley, Alexander Valley, and we have a small vineyard in Napa, Carneros.
So we are getting so many questions. They are just pouring in from you guys, and we are going to get to as many as we can. Regarding the Pinot Noir, someone wanted to know about the oak regimen on it.
It's 35% or 37% new oak, and it's aged in the barrel for 10 months before bottling.
And
all French oak.
Yeah, 100% oak aged with 37% is new, right?
Correct.
Okay. Awesome. And then there was another question about you that I'm looking for right now. My vine spot wanted to know, given your background, how you have come to fall in love. You started to address this just with falling in love with wine, but how do you enjoy combining the science with the art in winemaking?
That is just, it's fun because you get to go out in the vineyard, and this time of year, we're getting close to harvest time, we get to go out and actually taste the grapes. So it's very sensory, wine, obviously you get to smell it, so you're really just thinking, and it's your own opinion on how the wine tastes, but out in the vineyard, you're just tasting the grapes, and you're thinking in your head, I think this is ready to pick. I think it tastes good. This is what we want. And but then you also have the laboratory, the science to back it up. With all the chemistry analysis that we do on the wine, which is really important for maintaining quality. And then you need the science background to understand what's happening with this fermentation, so you can keep everything going down the right path.
And then another person asked what the case production is on the Pinot.
The Pinot, it's pretty small. It varies year to year. I'm not exactly sure what the case production is on this one.
Okay.
I don't.
And this one I will say, Ferrari-Carano's wines are international, a few of them in international distribution. But the wines that you're tasting here today are a little trickier to find depending on where you're located. You'll see the Fumé Blanc and the Chardonnay in every state. These wines you can absolutely find at the Ferrari-Carano winery right here in Sonoma County. You'll find Siena on a lot of restaurant menus across the nation. And there are so many different wines from Ferrari-Carano beyond the Chard and the Fumé Blanc that you see all over. So there's a total case production that is large, but there are so many different wines that you'll find that are in much more limited release.
Yeah, I want to say it's like around 700 cases. I might guess, but I don't know exactly. It's not on the tech sheet either.
So let's get into Siena a little bit. Is everyone ready to move on to the Siena? The good news is even if you're not, you still have a whole bottle left, whatever remains in your bottle of the Pinot Noir. So I guess it's hard to tear ourselves away from the first one. It was so good.
Yeah, so the Siena, I kind of started talking about it briefly. It's a pretty unique blend that we've been making for around 20 years, and it has a pretty popular following. It's a blend of Sangiovese, mostly Sangiovese, and then we add in some Malbec that gives a really nice plushy plum flavor to the wine, and a little bit of Petit Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon to give it a little bit of more structure to the wine, fill it out a little bit more. The Sangiovese that we use comes from the valley floor and also from hillside. So working with the two different kind of areas that you're getting the fruit from give you different flavors. And the fruit coming from the valley floor is much more fruitier, juicier. You get like strawberry jam and cranberry. And then when you head up to some of the hillside fruit, you get a little bit darker flavors. Some plum gets to be a little bit darker, and then we add in that Hungarian oak that gives it the coffee toastiness and some caramel flavors.
I love this wine. I think it's so neat, and it's so cool that even though only Sangiovese is the true Italian grape of the blend, it really does come through as a sort of California Italian hybrid for me, where the fruit it does feel Californian, but it has so many of the kind of delicious earthy and spicy characteristics and the acid that I think of with Italian wines.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good description of this wine. And a reason why I picked this wine too is it's obviously Sangiovese. It's a great type of food wine, and so talking about more of what I do on that grill is make pizzas on the grill, and obviously the Sangiovese goes great with pizza, and then some grilled portobello mushrooms. Also, it's a tasty pairing with this Sangiovese blend.
And I love you were telling me about your portobello recipe, and you were mentioning putting pesto in it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a very simple, quick recipe to make Vietnamese. So you just take and poke some holes. This is what the mushroom guy down at the farmer's market told me to do, is poke some holes before I put it on the grill on the bottom, and then on the top, well, it's not really the top, but the underside of the mushroom, you're going to just spread on some, your favorite pesto sauce on there, top it with some mozzarella cheese, and then stick it on the grill and let the cheese melt, and you're ready to go. Very quick and tasty. So you can get to drinking your wine quicker.
I wish that we had a grill right here to do that on the side of the show. Martin Redmond wanted to know whether the grape variety composition of the Siena has changed over the years.
It has changed. It's interesting, the grapes don't always set the same. I mean, you have the same year, but the grapes don't always set the same for the different varieties. So sometimes you're not going to have as much production of your Sangiovese, or maybe the Malbec didn't go through set very well. So you end up with a lower yield from the vineyard. So then it's going to vary the composition of the wine, just because you only have this many grapes. I mean, Sangiovese is not readily just available anywhere. So if the Sangiovese doesn't set enough crop, we're going to end up with a little bit less to blend with the Malbec. But I think Sangiovese still ends up being the foundation for the wine. It's just the percentages don't stay exactly the same year to year, just based on Mother Nature.
In my experience with it, it's definitely that Sangiovese has always come through as the backbone, no matter what the other grapes are in the blend.
We still try to target a very consistent product year to year, but maybe the percentages aren't going to look exactly the same.
And it seems to me like that's kind of what's wonderful about being able to blend, is if one grape doesn't react as well to a certain seasonal change in the vineyard, you've got those other grapes to kind of come in and it's sort of like a relay race of who does what to make the wine a consistent product, which is great. Which brings up a question from Frank Morgan, drink what you like. He wants to know sort of how much you feel your job is numbers versus how much is that kind of gut sense thing. And there was a similar question. Martin Redmond wanted to know, when you're deciding how to pick, how much of it is sensory versus technical?
Sometimes when you keep going back to a vineyard day after day after day, it's not ready yet. Even though the numbers are telling you that it is, you're tasting it and you're deciding that it's not. So I feel like it really does come down to sensory, and after a while you're working with these same vineyards year to year, and you come to know what to expect from certain vineyards, and you'll know, it's ready, you gotta go in this. So and sometimes it's weather dependent too. Maybe it's gonna rain a tornado, or not a tornado, but a hurricane the next day, and maybe you just have to say, okay, we've got 24 bricks. Let's pick it because it's going to get drenched tomorrow. So there is some other factors involved, but in a perfect year, you're going to go out and taste those grapes, and you know what to expect, and they're going to taste just right, and then you're going to ask your vineyard manager to pick them.
I love when you were describing earlier, we were talking before the tasting about sort of the relationship between the work in the vineyard, of the vineyard management, and your work in the winery, and how when you are tasting these individual lots from an individual block within a vineyard, it gives you the ability to go back and say, I want more from this, I want more from that, and then having to sort of backtrack, as you described, to the vineyard itself and decide what to do.
Every block from the vineyard comes in, it's kept separate. We have, up at the mountain winery where we receive all the red grapes, we have 100 different tanks, believe it or not. but they're all in different sizes. So we have a whole bunch of 5-ton tanks, 10-ton, 15, 20, and then 30-ton tanks. So we have all these different sizes so that they can fit the different size blocks that we have, and that we can keep them all separate. And so then at the end of harvest, once the wines settle down, so that would be, about maybe March, we meet with the vineyard manager and his staff, and we go through each of those wines together and say what we love and what performed well that year, and then talk about what we need to work on.
It's great to think about it being such a seasonal experience, where you have this thing that has years of life in the bottle, and then until you open it, like from the grape to the glass, can be many, many years, but you're always able to go back through every stage and see how these decisions or these climatic factors affect what you end up with.
Oh yeah, it's fun tasting a lineup of, we go back and taste a 10-year vertical of like the Tresor, for instance, and like see how, that vintage was a tough year, or that was like a great year and it's still showing well. It's fun to do.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are asking about sustainability. Ferrari-Carano, I will say, just was designated a California certified sustainable vineyard, and that speaks for all 24 vineyards in of the Ferrari-Carano brand. Every single one of them is farmed sustainably, and that's just been it's been that way for some time, but this certification is hugely exciting.
Yeah, it's a big process. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out to document everything that you do in the vineyards, to just to take care of the land and make it hospitable for all the animals and plants, the whole environment. We've been fish-friendly farming for quite some years. We've had that certification. So, because we have a lot of vineyards that are along streams and rivers, so the vineyard crew has done a great job of rebuilding some of the habitat along those streams and creating shade in areas, and just like taking care of the environment. And we got to work alongside the with our environment, because we need like the bees and the birds, and we all need that to help us. Some of the birds, they fly and they get rid of some of the pests in the vineyard, and we need the bees for pollination, and so we need to work along and take care of the environment that's around our vineyards.
It's really been, I think, such a wonderful. It's had such a wonderful impact on, I think, Sonoma, that Ferrari-Carano is a well-known winery with a lot of land. To make a change at a winery of this size, I think it really speaks for the ability for many others to get on board and participate.
Yeah, I think it will. There's a lot of people. Especially Sonoma. I know living here in Sonoma County, everyone's concerned to take care of this place, because it's beautiful, and we love living here, and we want to see it continue that way.
And Sonoma County has made a commitment to, their aim is to become 100% sustainable by 2019, and so Ferrari-Carano is a substantial piece of the puzzle, and I think that many wineries have really taken this seriously and are learning about sustainability and how to implement these practices. And with Don and Rhonda Carano, who own Ferrari-Carano Winery, that's been at the forefront of their minds from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And it's really neat. It comes down not just in the vineyard, but you also see energy efficient equipment being put in the wineries, and
the solar panels on the houses, and definitely with the drought, everything's drip irrigated. They have equipment for doing leaf wetness testing, so that we don't use more water than what we need. They've installed a lot of fans in the vineyard, where in the past we would use overhead sprinklers for frost protection, but now we have a lot more fans in place to help with frost protection, so we don't need to use water for that.
And it's amazing when you're sitting here in the warm valley during the day to think about how nighttime on a hillside at high elevation struggles with frost.
It's not too bad on the hillsides because you have the inversion layer. It's mostly down in the valleys where the cold air is gonna settle down.
Right.
Yeah, the cold air is gonna settle down, and so then you get the fan. So hillside ranches where
It's actually where you don't get it.
It's not. Yeah, we don't really need the frost protection on the hillside ranches, but we do have plenty of valley ranches that we need to protect.
The daytime to the nighttime temperatures can be really striking.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'll go to work, I go to work very early, so some days I'll drive along and where it's cold down in the valley, I drive up to the top of the hill and it's not even as cold.
Yeah. My vine spot wanted to know, wanted you to explain the benefits of serving wine, red wine at a little bit cooler temperature. A lot of people think reds are just supposed to be at room temp, but room temp means something so different in summer.
Right. So no, you have a cellar. It's really a cellar temperature. Sometimes it's cold. You're not pouring your glass. You don't want it to frost up, but you're absolutely right. You don't want the wines to be warm. So just like slightly chilled. The Siena is especially nice. It's just a slight chill, but not enough to like frost up the glass. Just I guess I should speak in temperatures like.
We said, I think, like 62 to 68.
Yeah, I was going to say 62 degrees would be cool, nice and cool for the summertime temperature for the red wine.
Yeah, and I think it's nice because you get a lot of, you can feel it as a refreshing product that way, but you also get a really different sense of balance and aromatics off it than you do at different temperatures.
That's true.
That changes so much.
As you're selling it. I'm not a fan of those glasses that don't have the stems because I feel like you can get your red wine too warm.
Yes, I agree.
For that reason, yeah, it's a good point to bring up.
And I also personally like to consider when I'm taking wine outside, if it's a really warm day outside, like throwing it in the fridge, over chilling, knowing that it's going to warm up, or knowing that it's going to cool down depending on that air temperature.
Yeah, I'll just keep it in the house and just go in and pour it.
That is
myself.
a really good solution too. So I want to backtrack a little bit because we talked about some of your favorite recipes for Siena. Do you also cook things to pair? I guess we talked about salmon with the Pinot Noir. Do you have a particular salmon that you like to do? Way that you like to prepare it?
You get good fresh salmon. All you need to do really is put some salt and pepper on it, put it on the grill, and just drizzle it with a little bit of, I like the Meyer lemon olive oil that we have here. It's pretty tasty, just a little drizzle of that, and I'm happy. I think it's delicious. We have a whole bunch of olive trees on the ranches that we make olive oil with, and it's so good. I'm always disappointed when we get out of stock.
Not the Meyer lemon olive oil, but the basic olive oil that Ferrari-Carano estate just won at the Sonoma County Harvest Fair.
I did get some golds.
Yeah, I think it was silver in 2013, and then this vintage was gold.
Yeah.
Awesome. Best of show.
Best of show. Oh.
And I think that is probably something that you can only get here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So more incentive to come visit us.
Exactly.
Black Dress Diva wants to know whether you see wines as having masculine and feminine qualities.
I guess we could personalize things like that.
When you're tasting, do you think of
sometimes I think like that when a wine, like, the Pinot Noir smells like roses, it smells pretty, that's kind of feminine, but not very nice. Men can smell pretty too.
That's true.
But I guess, I could think of it that way, or, when you're smelling it more tasting, you have a big, robust cab that's smelling dark, tar, you could do that, but I don't typically. Only when I think, oh, this wine smells so pretty, it seems that just sounds feminine to me to say that, but not normally, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely like that. It seems like everyone has started to embrace that men can drink rosé and anything they
absolutely.
want, and that the wines themselves shouldn't be limited to like, oh, this is a wine for women or more feminine in that way. But I do think that it's undeniable that that's a pretty Pinot Noir. I had a question that I wanted to ask you. Where did it go? Sorry, guys. Martin Redmond asked whether we use any whole cluster fermentation on the wines.
No, none of these. I do sometimes with the Pinot Noir, but not in this particular wine.
So none of these.
We've done a little bit in the past, a little bit, but not this vintage. It depends on the vintage. Sometimes you want to make sure that the stem, because you're putting the stems in there with the fermentation, so you want to make sure those stems are pretty well lignified and ripe and not very green. You're going to throw it into the fermentation, so it's not a typical thing that we do, but we've kind of played around with it.
It's nice to be able to play and experiment with what you want out of the wines.
Yeah, because in some years we've had this wine in half-ton macrobins when we've done the fermentation. I mean, we are, Ferrari-Carano, but we also do little tiny half-ton bin fermentations in all the, lineup. Maybe we've had up to like 50 different ones. It's like a whole another winery when you start like doing macrobin fermentation. So that gives us an opportunity to do some experimenting when it's all divided up in such small little lots.
So a half-ton probably sounds like a lot to people who haven't been in a winery. Can you contextualize that by explaining how
it makes two
big
barrels of wine?
Right. Yeah, it's amazing how many grapes actually go into making.
It's a lot of work, especially, I don't know if any of you have made wine, home wine making by hand, but it's definitely a lot of work.
Sippity Sup is asking whether you think sustainability matters to customers.
Yes, it does. I do believe it does. Maybe not every customer, but it's definitely an audience that appreciates that. And some people might base their buying choices on, only buy from responsible companies.
I think there's a trend of seeing companies, I don't mean to make it sound trendy, it's a good thing, but I feel like more companies are being sort of led by consumers to be more transparent in that way. And it's amazing when a company of this size can like open up and it doesn't have dirty laundry. Like it's been the motivation of the company from the get-go to be responsible in that way.
Yeah, well, we're here to stay here in Sonoma County. This is our home, and we're not going anywhere. So I think it makes sense for us to take care of it. And I mean, it feels good for me to work for a company that does care, and to work for the owners, John and Rhonda. It's important for me that they care about taking care of the environment and also keeping this company around for the long haul.
Yeah, and it has been around. Ferrari-Carano was founded initially in 1981,
Yeah.
which is older than me.
Not much. Not older than me, but the Don and Rhonda, they came out. They own Eldorado Casino in Nevada, in Reno, Nevada. That's where they're from, and they came out to Sonoma County. They were just looking for some wine to have in their restaurant and bar in the casino, and but they came out to Sonoma County and realized it was a special place. They fell in love with the area, and they ended up buying a farmhouse and that had 40 acres of Chardonnay planted, and from there they're like, well, let's make some wine. We own some Chardonnay now, and so they took classes at UC Davis. And they actually made their own wine in their garage and bottled it up and gave it to their friends and family. so actually, that went well, and so they started buying more vineyards and then built the winery to make the wine with all these vineyards that they were buying. And they've done really well, obviously, at it. It's kind of fun. If you ever come here for a tour, you walk through the winery. There are 2 little stainless steel tanks that they used in their garage. We still have those in the winery, and we still use them. So it's kind of neat.
That is neat. I feel like we should probably drink a Zinfandel.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk Zin.
So a Zinfandel, the grapes for this Zinfandel are actually right outside of the building that we're sitting in right now. So they're right alongside the Villa Fiore, and
which is the name of this tasting room that we are in a little section of right now.
So in Dry Creek Valley, it is blended. We do blend 3% of Petite Syrah in there. It's also in the same vineyard block because it adds, some nice boysenberry, darker flavors to the wine. The Zinfandel, I think, is pretty typical from Dry Creek. It has that blackberry jam character, a little bit of white pepper, and we get some nice caramel, like a toasty caramel type of flavor from it, from the oak treatment. We don't use a lot of oak. It's 33% new oak. It's all French oak because we want that integration. We want the fruit to still pop out at you and be that jammy like Zin is.
And it does, it really pops on this. I would, smelling it, I just get so much boysenberry jam, almost a compote-y thing, but still with that kind of fresh kick to it. You can smell that it's got that freshness.
To it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
But it's fruity, so it has fruit coming through. And then, like I said, the oak does a really nice job with it as well. Just like it's integrated, it's there, but it's not overpowering.
What do you eat with the Zinfandel?
The Zinfandel is ribs. You're gonna have some barbecued ribs, barbecued pork ribs, some corn on the cob. Picture the corn on the cob with some black pepper on it. It goes really good with the Zinfandel. Also sliders. You can barbecue up some little sliders on the grill. So very tasty. It does has a bit more tannins to it than the first 2 wines. So maybe you want to have it with a steak too.
And I know Rhonda loves this one with bitter chocolate desserts.
Oh yeah, Rhonda loves the chocolate and red wine pairing experience. So that would be good to have a dessert. I mean, maybe get some fresh berries, drizzle it with a little chocolate, and have it with this at the end of the meal.
I feel like this wine has the power and kind of that chocolate undertone that, especially if you're going for something richer and darker, it picks up nicely.
Yes, go very well together. You could do with something like a mole sauce too.
Oh yeah.
But that's not really cooked out on the barbecue. So
You could probably do a mole barbecue fusion thing.
yeah, do it.
I could see that on ribs.
I've taken
imagining
mole sauce, put it on chicken before, and put that on the grill. So
Ooh.
the chicken breast with some mole sauce.
I love your. I want to go grill with you.
I
now.
love eating
And who doesn't?
and drinking too.
Loving wine, I think, just demands loving food, and vice versa.
Mhm.
There's so many people come to wine because they love food, and so many people come to food because they start drinking wine, and then the experience of pairing just kind of opens your world.
Goes hand in hand. Yes.
So we've got so many more questions. Martin Redmond wants to know how you would describe Ferrari-Carano's winemaking philosophy.
Well, really, we're starting in the vineyard. So for me now, we do have a lot of signature styles that we're targeting. So, and a lot of these wines, the Siena, this is like what Don and Rhonda have come up with, these blends, these ideas for blends. And so go after their vision for the different wines. So really, you're targeting, Siena. We want to keep it the same year to year. So that's how we're going to make the wine and the grapes. And sometimes Don and Rhonda, they come up with some other ideas for different wines that they want us to make. Recently we made a reserve cab, so that would be going out and searching for the kind of the premier tier of some of our hillside cab vineyards and putting that together in a blend that reflects something that would be brought in a reserve style, more concentrated flavors and more robust with tannin and the structure. So I think that would be our philosophy, is really following what the owner's vision is. And we have all these different vineyards that we have to choose from, a lot of different blocks. So it's what those vineyards are giving to us as well.
And something like the Reserve Cabernet that you were describing is definitely something that could age for many years, could be like a kind of a showpiece gift wine, whereas Siena is something that's meant to be delicious right now, and it is meant to be an Italian style wine. Don and Rhonda are Italian American, and if there's ever a culture that loves food and wine, Italy is that culture, I would say. I mean, there's a few, but Italy is way up there. So this is like a fantastic daily drinking kind of pasta wine. It's elegant, it's got complexity, but it's also something that you can unscrew the screw cap on and enjoy.
Yeah, take it to the picnic. Another good summertime activity.
Totally.
The screw cap is perfect for that.
Do you get to be outdoors much? I know you're at the mountaintop, but you're inside a cellar. Do you get to enjoy the scenery where you're at?
Oh, I do, yeah. Especially, every day when I go home, obviously, because there is that view. But at lunchtime, we have an outdoor seating area where we sit. Everyone sits to eat lunch, and it overlooks our reservoir, which looks like a pond. And so there's mountains, vineyards all around, trees. It's gorgeous. There's a lot of wildlife up there. We have a couple bald eagles that you'll see flying past from time to time. There's turkeys as well. Turkeys running around, coyotes, bobcats, rabbits.
And you said you moved down from Humboldt, where it's 5 hours more north and gloomy.
About 3 hours away, and it's close to the coast, so you have a lot of overcast days. People love the climate up there because it is mild. It doesn't get very hot, but I would laugh because the day that the sun was finally out, it would be so windy because you had to have the wind to blow the fog away that you really couldn't go outside and enjoy it.
It's pretty. It's gorgeous up there. But
It's gorgeous. Yeah, and I still appreciate it when I go up there. There's all the redwood trees are just beautiful, and it's green year round. Really nice. The Hill River runs through there. It's a really lovely part of California as well.
But if you like sunshine, there's nothing like the weather that you get here.
Yes, I prefer to be a little bit. I'm getting a little chilly here in this little room, but we got to keep it cool for the wine. But yeah, I do enjoy having the sun shining on me, being warm. But it's not that warm. It's not like some areas of California where it's warm. At nighttime, it does cool down, so maybe it gets warm during the day, but at nighttime, it does cool down. Like in the summertime, it's around mid-50s in the evening, so not that cold.
Black Dress Diva wanted to talk about screw caps versus corks. What wines are there other wines that are under screw cap, and is there like a philosophy surrounding that?
Well, we just have the Siena for the red wines. Only the Siena is in screw cap, and they switched to that because they thought it's sold in restaurants, and it's really, it's a popular wine by the glass, so that's really easy for the people in the restaurant. Love the ease of for wines by the glass. It's also, like we were talking about, it's a very fresh and fruity, early to release wine. So it gets aged in a bottle for about 6 months. So other wines that we have are the Fumé Blanc is with screw cap, and the Pinot Grigio, and the Sonoma County Chardonnay, which are all earlier release wines that are perfect for the screw cap finish.
The Wine Hub wanted to know, with the 3 wines, Dry Creek Valley, Sonoma County, Alexander Valley, do the different styles come from your treatment in the winery or from the different terroir?
I would say the different terroir because, well, I guess we'll answer that in a few different ways. Pinot Noir, this from Anderson Valley, is definitely comes from terroir. It's a blend though, so you do have 3 different ranches that you're blending together. So like you were saying, maybe you're going to pick out the different ranches on their own. And then also with the Siena, it has Malbec from Dry Creek Valley blended in there with the Alexander Valley Sangiovese. So I don't know how much you're going to exactly pick up from the terroir because it is a blend. This Zinfandel definitely is very signature of the Dry Creek Valley area, and because it's just from one little vineyard, both the Petit Syrah, small amount of Petit Syrah that's in there, and the Zinfandel are both in the same little plot of land.
The question, sorry, you guys are really hard to keep up with today. These are very conversation and question inspiring wines. Martin Redmond made a great note, which is that he could see the Zinfandel pairing with grilled tuna.
Oh, I'd like to try that now.
And it's actually, I've had a little bit of experience with Zinfandel and heavier fishes, and I am totally in agreement with you there. Have you done that at all?
No, I haven't, but now you've inspired me. I'm going to do that one.
Something new to try. And then he also wanted to know, nope, sorry, not him. My vine spot, Giselle, wants to know which wine among these 3 you would select for your Thanksgiving table.
Both, I go back and forth with this choice. I don't know, if you got a turkey that's a little bit on the dry side, I like the juiciness and the roundness and the softness of the Siena. But if your turkey is not, nice juicy turkey, I'd go with the Pinot Noir. I think it's a good choice. But then if you think about your cranberry sauce with the turkey, then back to the Siena again with that, because it has like a cranberry type of thread to it.
Thanksgiving is notoriously, so hard because of all the different flavors on the table.
I know.
How do you approach it? Do you like to geek out and bring tons of things out and try tons of things?
Yes. I like a variety, so I would have, different wines to try and let's pair it together. I kind of don't like to pick the meal with all the different things, but everyone likes that, so it's fun. What do you put with those Brussels sprouts, though?
Oh gosh. Usually for Brussels sprouts, I am back to kind of crisp, minerally whites, things with less fruit, but it also depends on what you're putting on them. Mm-hmm. I feel like the thing that really makes any vegetables super hard is putting a lot of flavors on it. And if you're just dealing with the raw material, you can, not the raw material as an uncooked, but the base material, then you can play more. Have you had any particularly good or bad Brussels sprout attempts?
I love Brussels sprouts, but I haven't really paid particular attention to it. I like it when you can put a little bit of bacon in there with the Brussels sprouts and some dried cranberries and balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, I think bacon definitely helps.
Wouldn't be so bad with that then.
Yeah, that's true. I could absolutely see that. So, Black Dress Diva's readers are wondering how long a bottle of red keeps after opening.
This sort of depends. Siena screw cap, you just pour a glass, put that cap back on it. It keeps, sometimes you like it better the next day, depending on the wine. If you have a little, little nitrogen thing, you can shoot a little nitrogen in there. It'll keep it better for a week. But I usually like to drink, for me, the wine is gone the next night. So 2 days tops usually, if you're not gassing the space with some nitrogen. What was my other question?
What do you see as like the ideal setting for enjoying any of these Ferrari-Carano reds in summer? Like, what's your ideal summer pairing setting beyond
with
the food?
Friends? I guess the setting where you have your friends around and you're just relaxing and enjoying the wine, enjoying your friends, and whatever meal you've prepared.
Great. And on the grill, just outside with the barbecue.
Outside, yeah. But usually I have the wine open while I'm out there with the barbecue, because you gotta like hang out there and watch it. So I'll have my first glass while I'm grilling.
I guess we're wrapping up. We just have a couple minutes left. So, what do you feel is your favorite thing that these wines are expressing, like how Ferrari-Carano is expressed through its wines?
Well, if you have different, the Pinot Noir, I'm especially proud of our ranches out in Anderson Valley, and just, that Don Armando went out there and again fell in love with another fabulous wine region, and now we have these wines here, and I can take a bottle of Anderson Valley Pinot Noir, just grab one here at the tasting room, take one home with me, and now I'm going to get this great quality wine. Siena is just a special wine because it has this following. People have named their children after this bottle of wine, so it's been around as a blend for 20 years, and people are real big fans of this blend, and it's unique for Ferrari-Carano. And then Zinfandel, we're here, the winery is here in Dry Creek Valley, and Dry Creek Valley is known for making some very tasty zins, so I'm really happy that we make, it's just a small production, about 500 cases. So I'm really happy that we have that here that's like reflective of the area.
We are really at about time. I think that was like the most beautiful explanation of these wines. It really, I just like had such a sense of this place hearing about it, even though I'm here, so maybe that helps. Thank you so much to all of our bloggers for joining us. It's been absolutely fantastic, and while we are basically done with our hour of tasting together, I would love to hear from you guys in comments or in future blogs about today, whether you've been to the winery, whether you've seen any of the actual vineyards where these wines are made, or the Villa Fiore tasting room that we're in right now, as well as the gardens. There's 5 acres of manicured gardens that the property sits on. So I encourage you to come if you haven't been, and would love to hear your feedback if you have. And also tell us what you do with these wines. There's like amazing comments about the food suggestions coming through from you guys.
Some more. I'd love to try out that tuna and Zinfandel.
Yes, please tweet or write about your food ideas for Rebecka. She wants your recipes and ideas, and she'll give you hers. I think that wraps us up today. Any closing thoughts?
Oh, thanks everyone for joining us today. It's my first time doing this virtual tasting, so I hope you all enjoyed the wines, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. We are going to stop our broadcast. But that doesn't mean you have to stop your evening. So if you're at home, continue to enjoy yourselves.